Sorry.
That's all right. That happened to me in church one time. Pastor, everybody I was right at the most quiet time on my phone, and it was, you know, musicians, we have a band pit, but we were sitting outside the band pit, and my phone was sitting on my seat up in the band pit, and it just started ringing so loud at the most quiet time. But anyway, I was saying that I was Chaka Khan's musical director for 6 years, and I talked to her a lot. And one day I just asked her, I said, you know, if you never made another dime, would you still sing it? She said, every day, you know, and that's how I feel about playing. You know, God has blessed me to be able to be in some incredible situations, but at the end of the day, we all start because we love it. You know, that's why we start playing. And then one day, somebody pays you, and you go, okay, wait, so I can get paid too? You know, and then what happened to me, my focus shifted from the love of playing to making money. And then I found myself on a gig that I hated because I needed the money. You know, and I always say that's the worst place you could ever be, is where you're doing a gig that you hate because you need the money. Because as musicians, what we do is personal, and we play from our hearts, you know, and we're affected by the environment and how it affects how we perform, you know. So I was doing a gig, I won't say who it was, but it was a very famous artist. And I'll just say this, I used to be, I think I told you this yesterday, I used to be on stage imagining myself kicking her in the back and kicking her off the stage. That's how bad it was. But then I said, you know what? I didn't start playing music to feel like this, and I quit. And I actually quit touring I started touring in 1977. And from 77 to 97, I was literally on the road like 9 months out of the year. And I quit. And for 9 years, I didn't tour with anybody. And then Chaka Khan called. I got married after that, had a couple of kids, and it just, the timing was right. And people called and said, Chaka's been looking for you. She wants you to be her musical director, which was amazing because she didn't know anything about me being a musical director. And when I asked her, I said, what made you think of me as a musical director? And she just said, I knew you would do it. And so I was with her for 6 years. And so I thought it would be cool. I'm going to actually play. This is one I did when I was her musical director. I arranged her whole show, you know. And the first thing I asked her, I said, well, do you want to do the songs, you know, like the records? And she said, no, I want to do them different. You know, a lot of times these artists, they sing these songs. People like the legends, they have to sing the same songs over and over again. And so what keeps it fresh with them is to kind of change it up. So I rearranged her show, you know, which was crazy because then we got a lot of flack from those diehard Chaka Khan fans who were like, they're not playing the songs like the records. But anyway, I'm going to play, this is actually her singing on here too, so that was a cool thing about being a musical director. I got all the tracks all the time, so. And so the reason I don't hear this, that's
Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. Let me rock this all I wanna do. Chaka Khan. Let me rock it. Chaka Khan. Let me rock it for you. Chaka Khan. What you wanna do? Do you believe?
Yeah.
13 in Los Angeles, but we opened up for him first in North Carolina. And it was funny, after he saw our show in Fayetteville, North Carolina, he came running backstage looking for me. And he's like, oh man, dude, who are you? Like, dude, you're incredible. Like, who did those arrangements? I'm like, he's talking to me like I'm him and he's me, you know? And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him because he's literally, they say he's 5'2", he's all 5 feet tall. So I'm looking at him and I'm just amazed. I'm not in awe of anybody because I really believe that he's a man just like me. You know, I know who you are. I have the utmost respect for your contribution in music and all of that. So, long story short, he saw us play and then he came and complimented me, which I was very flattered, you know. And then after that, every time, we opened up for him about 6 more times that year. And every time we played, he'd be over standing on the side of the stage with his dark shades on. He was just watching me play. And it was just, that was amazing because I was really hurt, you know, but I had forgotten the thing that I always tell people is that gigs end. They end. And you can't get a big head, and I've seen it happen. You know, I'm about to be 57 years old, so I'm like now an old guy that's giving advice to the youngsters and all that kind of stuff. And I love them all. I work with most of the cats I work with are like, my oldest son is older than all of them, you know, man. But I used to say that all the time, you know, you gotta be cool, and you always have to be cool when you get a good gig, because you become a jerk after you get the gig, and then the gig ends, all the people are gonna remember when you were a jerk, when you got that gig. And so, you know, one thing about me, I operate every day with an attitude, literally of gratitude, because I realized that it didn't have to be me. There are a million talented people. And a lot of us know people. We go, man, that dude's bad. How come he's not doing more? It's just, you know, I get a lot of questions like, what do I need to do to make it in music? And it's like, Chaka and I were talking yesterday, you got to do everything, because there's no surefire way, you know, and you got, if you want to be in the music business, you just a lot of it is being in the right place at the right time, you know, and that's all. For me, blessing for me was I was born in Los Angeles, so I didn't have to try to go there, you know, for the sake of being in music. I was already there, you know, and I started out playing. I started out playing with Reverend James Cleveland. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with him. Mm-hmm. That's where I learned how to play bass. I used to sing in the choir, and then in '74, I saw Larry Graham on Soul Train. And I begged my mother to give me a bass, and she got me a bass for Christmas that year. And it's really cool. You know, Prince and Larry Graham were best friends. So Larry Graham was always around, so it was real cool for me to be able to tell him, you know, yo, dude, the reason I started playing bass, you know. And you know, I started out with James, and then from James, we went to Israel in '83. And that's where I met Andre Crouch. And, you know, I remember looking on the back I used to look on the back of records, you know, y'all know about looking on the back of records and looking at the credits. And like, I remember thinking how cool it would be to actually meet, not work, but just meet some of these people. And I'm looking at Andre Crouch, and the same thing, Andre saw me playing with James, and he came up to me and said, man, I really love the way you play. And I'm sitting there going, okay, Andre Crouch knows where I play. Okay. And then he said, I want to work with you. And like, in the next month, I was in the studio recording No Time to Lose record with him. And then from there, that's how I met the Winans. You know, so for me, it literally was just being in the right place at the right time, you know. Because in this music business, when you get to a certain level, it's not about how good you are, because everybody's good, you know. Then what comes into play is your attitude, your work ethic, your preparedness for, you know, your equipment, all of that stuff matters. So all those things matter. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been on gigs where somebody's came with a raggedy rig or a guitar didn't work right. I did a session one time, and they rented this drummer. They rented a whole set for him, the Mighty Clouds of Joy album, and they rented the drums for the drummer. And the drummer walks in and goes, "Oh man, no sticks." Really? They got you a whole kit and you don't have sticks. That would be like me showing up with no strings, you know? But I'm just saying, those are the kind of things that, you know, and people look at that, you know? You get to a certain, when you get to that level, it's about how you work, your attitude, how you work with everybody else, man. And, you know, for me, a lot of people see me in situations where, especially like the YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff, most of the situations people see me in, I'm in charge. So people have a hard time, even when I got the gig with Prince, I saw on some talkbase.com or one of those things, it was a whole thread about it, like how's that gonna work? Gouche playing with Prince with the way his style is. But my style, I have my own style, but I'm not an idiot. It's like, why would I go on this man's gig trying to impose my will on this gig? The first thing I said to Prince when I got there, I said, hey man, whatever you want me to do, just tell me, you know. And he said to me, he said, I want you to do your thing. He said, but if there's something specific that I want you to do, I'll tell you, which is what he did, you know. And a lot of people, I know how to just do this. I'll do that. But that's what I'm required to do. But if you tell me, do your thing, well, I'm gonna do my thing, you know. So it's this world with all the, you know, internet and social media and all that kind of stuff. Information passes 10 times faster, it goes 10 times farther, and lasts 10 times longer than back in the day. And so, you know, all it takes is, like, I had to defend. Everybody knows Victor Wu. You see all of the crazy stuff. He does stuff that nobody else can do on mix. But I saw him playing with this guitar player named Mike Stern. He was just standing in the back. He was playing, Dennis Chambers was playing drums. And Victor, when I tell you, that dude has the best groove where he just sat in the back and just played the parts. But that, when they gave him a solo at the end, but that just added more value to his solo because he had sat in the back and just, it was incredible. And that's when I became, I mean, I've always been a fan of his, but I really became a fan of Victor. When I saw him, it's like, he knows how to do that. That's what people don't realize. You see all the videos, you think, he's doing this all the time. But Victor, he came to my gig. Some of y'all may have seen that video of him in my jam session. We're playing Eleanor Rigby. And he's just kind of laying back and just, we're playing together. Then he takes a solo and then we're all on the floor by the time he finishes. But you know, you gotta know how to do that and understand, you know. I think one of the reasons I've been able to spend blessed to do a lot of things is like I do whatever's required of me, you know. And that's the part that people don't see. They don't see the preparation. They don't see, you know, because that's not what gets glorified. What gets glorified are all the acrobatics, you know. That's what everybody wants to videotape, you know. And that's the first thing you see on YouTube. But I'm just like anybody else. And I have to tell people now, where I am, people think that they can't call me for gigs. I probably can't afford to. I'm like, man, you see where I'm playing right now? I was doing the jam session every Sunday. They paid us, it was 6 of us, they paid us like $400. So we just, $80 a piece. But we didn't care. We were playing because we loved to play. All those townhouse, that's what it was, you know. And it's like this, it's not a hole in the wall, but it's like a black club over, like, I remember I started playing in the 80s. I remember people used to get shot and stabbed in that place, you know. But, so, you know, I'm just a musician like anybody else. I've just been blessed, man, to do something really. And a lot of times you don't think about it when you're in it, but when you step outside of it and then you look at it, then I go, okay, wow, that is kind of like, for me, the crazy thing now, and like I was on CNN a couple of days ago. I was the last bass player in my power generation. There'll only ever be one last dude, and I was that last. But it didn't dawn on me until I was talking, and I was like, wow. Because honestly, how many people can say they played for Prince? That's crazy. That's crazy. But it was a lot of fun. He's a funny dude. Talking a lot of trash. Talk a lot of trash. It was funny because he would talk about Gouche's bass got all those strings on it. Why you gotta have all those strings, you know? He's like, Larry's bass only has 4 strings. And I said, well, you know, this bass has those 4 strings on it. So that's those 4 strings. And he laughed, you know, and what I came to realize is he liked the exchange, you know, and he liked me because I wasn't, oh my God, Prince, you know, I never talked to him like that. I talked to him like I'm talking to you guys. And then one day, he said, oh yeah, why does Gouche's bass have to have all those knobs on it? Larry's bass only has 2 knobs. It's not true. Larry's bass has the exact same amount of, has 5 knobs on it. But Prince he was just, you know, he's playing around, but I said to him, I said, you know what, Prince? I said, this bass is the reason you called me. And he went like this. But it was, you know, it was all in fun, you know, but, and I'm just, after getting over the initial shock of him passing, which the first day, it just didn't seem real. Like, I'm like, there's no way that this dude, because I saw how he lived. And Prince made me start eating better, not by ever saying anything, but just watching his example. And I lost 40 pounds when I got on that gig. You know, I'm like, this dude is like, and then he's got so much energy. I was on the radio last week and I said, you know, because I wasn't a Prince fan, you know. He and I are the same age, so he was doing what he was doing, but I was doing what I was doing, you know. And a lot of people didn't really get it when I said it, but it's like I was never sitting around listening to music. I started touring in '77, so from '77 to '97, nonstop. So I was only listening to music that I had to learn to play, you know, and then I was on tour playing. So I didn't get into Prince like everybody else did. Like, I knew who he was. I had the greatest respect for him, but I didn't become a fan. And I said this on the radio. I said I wasn't a Prince fan at first when I said, but after seeing his work ethic and his demand for excellence 24/7, it was nothing, like Prince had the baddest band on earth. And that's what he was never gonna settle for anything less than that. And watching him work, like we'd be rehearsing in one room, the girl band would be rehearsing in another room. He'd be cutting guitar in one studio, then he'd be mixing a record in another studio. All this stuff, and like I would see him running back and forth. Like, this dude was amazing. And that's what made me, I became a fan of him then, you know. But it was funny, I realized with this whole media thing, you gotta watch what you say. I was just on that Dr. Drew guy show a couple of days ago, and he was trying to ask him, well, did you ever see Prince do anything? And I was like, absolutely not. And I remember thinking, don't say anything crazy on here, you know, because I saw some crazy stuff, but I was not going to get on national TV and say it. But, so that's everything. Like right now, it's still kind of surreal to think that he's not here, you know. And they're doing a tribute next Friday in LA. The city of Los Angeles is sponsoring. It's going to be on the steps of City Hall. I'm the musical director for the whole thing. So it's crazy. I was just telling somebody they're trying to do a month's worth of work in 1 week, like trying to get all these artists to come and get all. And I've been like getting a bunch of emails and texts all the time because they're trying to put together. So I realized how great, now more so, I think I did while I was there, but now more so than ever, I realized the magnitude of it, because you don't, you know, you kind of don't think about it while you're in it, but you get a chance to step out and look, I'm like, wow, that's pretty awesome, you know. Anyway, so the one thing about me, I can start talking, and then I can just talk forever and ever and ever. Finally, I had to get out of that. I had a fear of like trying to do my own music, you know, and I've been writing songs for years. And my sister said something to me. She's like, because my biggest fear was like, what if nobody likes your songs, you know? But if you're doing something from your heart, you know, people will know. It doesn't matter what style it is. It has nothing to do with the style. But when it comes from your heart, you know. There's somebody, at the end of the day, everybody's not going to like what you do. There's always going to be somebody, there are people that hate me. They hate me. Like I've seen them post about how much they hate me and hate my plan, you know. But that's the world we live in. No matter what you do, everybody's not going to like you. So you got to be happy with yourself. And Prince is a good example. The first time he was seen on a big stage, somebody, I don't know why they did, but they put him on when he opened up for the Rolling Stones. And he got booed off of the stage. They booed him off the stage, but he never quit, you know. And that's what I would tell people, just whatever you do, whatever's in your heart, man, as long as you follow your heart, you never go wrong. I'm gonna play a song from my record, and this particular song reminds me of how music used to be back in the day. I like to say that I'm pre-technology. There was a time when you couldn't go in the studio and turn some buttons and sound good, like auto-tune and so on. There was a time when everybody was great, and that was the norm. You walked into the studio, and there was a studio full of great players. You do a 3-hour session, you got 3 songs done. You know, that was how it went, you know. And this song is called Way Back When. It just kind of reminds me of how music used to be back in the day. And it actually features my good friend Marcus Anderson on saxophone. And this is a song, a lot of people, you think about a bass record, you think about a whole bunch of, but that's not me, you know. I had to do what was me. And on this song, I'm just playing bottom. So this is Way Back When. My background is I started out when I was 7 years old. My parents told us we had to play instruments. I was 8. And I thought I was being smart. I picked the trumpet because it only had 3 keys. So I thought, but once I started playing, I realized all the work was right here. So I played trumpet for 10 years. Horrible on trumpet.
But you learned to read really well.
Well, I could read then, but I started playing bass in church, like I said, at James Cleveland's church. And while I was in high school, I was reading. But when I started doing gigs, I just didn't have to do it, and I lost it, you know. So I can halfway tell what the notes are, but I play by ear mostly.
Did you learn a lot about theory?
I don't know anything.
Okay.
It's always funny to me when people come up to me with whatever the correct terminology is for what I'm doing, and then I look at it, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I just, you know, and I always say that one way doesn't diminish the other way, you know. It's just, you know, because I've been in situations where readers were really condescending, you know,
Right.
to people that don't read. But then I've been in situations where something had to be done on the fly, and because it wasn't written down, the readers couldn't do it. So, I mean, honestly, you should be able to do both. But you know, I just got to a point where my learning curve, man. And I keep saying I'm gonna go back and learn how to read. It's just something that I want to conquer, just so I can say it doesn't really have anything to do with me getting gigs, but I want to be able to say I know how to do it. I did a song on Mary Mary's first record. It's an arrangement of Wade in the Water that I did, and I found out a couple of years later that at Berkeley School of Music, there's a whole book of my lyrics on like gospel records that they have there. And one of the professors at Berkeley was in LA for this thing they do every year. And
I'll get some money for that.
yeah, right. It's like a real book. Like who gets royalties off of that thing? You know?
So you say you have perfect pitch. How is that just a gift that you developed,
Yeah.
or did you
Yeah,
somehow
I
technically
didn't-
figure that out?
No, I realized in high school that I had it, you know.
Do you play keys or anything?
No, but my my high school choir teacher, I don't know how he even got on it, but he was pointing notes, and he hit a note, and I was like, he had perfect pitch, and I think he was saying that he did, and so we had perfect pitch contest, and he hit a note, and I you know, told him what the note was. I've come to realize that in later years now, don't really utilize it, so it's fallen off a little bit, you know. A lot of times I'll be like I have.
Use it or lose it.
Yeah. And I mean, I still have it, but you know.
Your chords are just.
Huh?
Can you tell what chords are, or just
Yeah,
individual notes?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I know major sevenths and ninths and sixths.
So if you hear a chord,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's why I like telling the keyboard player that's playing a chord and you have to know it there. I know the note is. And they'll be like, how do you know that? But
I was gonna ask you. My bad. Go ahead.
no.
I was gonna ask you. Like, I know you switched from like gospel to R&B, not necessarily switch, but you played both. And I know like a lot of the progressions and stuff are the same. How did you like combat that in your head? Because the music is different, but like as a musician, we would play in a church and we might play in the club the next day.
Well, especially now, because gospel musicians are doing all the gigs.
Yeah.
Right.
So everything sounds like gospel anyway. You know, I remember the first time I used to live around the corner from this jazz club in LA. It's a club called, it's not a club, but they call it performing. It was a little small place. It's about this size. Actually, it's smaller than this. It's about 3/4 this size. And they had jam sessions for years. They still have every Thursday night. And I walk around there because it's right around the corner from my house, and I would just sit. And I really wanted to get into that music, but I never wanted to disrespect it by coming in with my R&B gospel background and trying to play those songs. So just for almost like a year, I just sat in the back and just like looked at the songs while they were playing because real has the chord changes. So the first time I got up to play, the first song that they just called off, they didn't know who I was, they didn't know anything. You guys know that song Impressions? So I played it, and they played it that fast too. And the dude asked me after the song, he said, man, how'd you learn how to swing like that? I said, man, that ain't nothing but shout music, bro. Yeah. That's what it was. It's just shout music. And so, I don't know, man. Music to me, there are elements of jazz that are much more abstract that you can't relate it to someone. It's really almost all related when you just think about what the chords are. You know, the words might be different, and then the rhythm might be different, but a lot of the progressions are the same, you know. And after a while, especially playing gospel, you get to a point where you can tell where it's going to go, you know, and, you know, because that's just how it's set up that way, you know. So it was never an issue for me, you know, switching. Even when I get questions about, you know, from my deep Christian people, like, what do you feel about playing worldly music? You know, I am who I am, you know. But it's just like Prince, you know, Prince, like they're doing this tribute, and there's a lot of the songs they actually had on the song list. And I had to tell him, you can't do those songs, because he stopped doing those songs, you know. You couldn't do Sexy MF and Head. Like, he never played those songs. And that's really where he was. And I believe you can be in any position and not compromise who you are, you know. Because, you know, you hear people say, well, how can you play secular music? Well, you work at the post office. Are you not going to go to work because the person standing next to you is not a Christian? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's a whole other topic I ain't gonna get on right, you know, but that's always been well. So listen, I thought it was kind of cool, you know, man, there's a story behind this song. I walked in just a couple of days ago, I made a track of it, I thought it'd be cool to play, so this is it. when I started playing the verse, I hit him with that low B flat, and he just turned around and went. I played the song every time. And he was funny because he talked a lot of trash, but he said to me, he said, I've never heard.
Guess what? Larry Graham couldn't do that.
No, Larry didn't do that. But he said, I've never heard a bass as deep as yours. You know, even though he's real sarcastic, you know, but he always, the thing I appreciated about him too is that he really appreciated talent and he wanted to surround himself with all the players, great players in that band. Anyway, I'm gonna play another song from my record. It's one of my favorite ones. The name of my record is called We Don't Need No Bass. Bass. The organ player can play bass on the pedals. And that's where that came from. So that's one of those things that just sticks with you forever. And so one of the tracks on my record is called We Don't Need No Bass. But this song right here is called, I don't know. Y'all hear something slow or something funky?
Funky.
That's one. I got one funky.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this song is called Jump Start. It's called Jump Start. beginning, this part I'll play again. This part. It's reminded of the figure language. So that's where Jumpstart came from. Yes, sir.
Talk about your thumb a little bit.
You know, it's funny because nowadays, this generation called it slap bass. But when I was coming up, it was not called slap bass. It was called thumping. And you called it thumping and plucking. And then later on, it became slap bass, but for me, I saw Larry Graham do that, and which is the reason this song right here. I saw him do that. Larry Graham was actually the one that created that style of playing. And it's actually, just like anything, music evolved. It used to be bass players all played, when they first started playing electric bass, they played with picks, like guitarists did, and then somebody started playing with their fingers, and then Larry came along with that thing. And it's just, to me, it's just so cool because, a lot of people think that you have to play something fast and funky to play with your thumb, but you can play a ballad, for instance, like I wanna be living for it doesn't have to be something like slap happy crazy. It just adds a different texture and
Do you ever catch it on the upstroke? And you come down and then back up?
You mean by accident?
No.
Like can I do that?
Or do you use that
Can I
method?
do that too? Huh?
That's what makes it sound so fast.
No, I know. What I was just doing, I wasn't. Just going down. Then I started, when people started doing, people do triplets. I've done triplets for years, but I didn't learn, the way that Victor does it, he goes, using all those fingers. He actually asked me one day, he's like, how do you do it the way you do it? Because I do it the stupid, hard way, which I'm going, I'm not using on I go, I can't go as fast as Victor can, but that's
fast.
the way I learned, so. But it will never be any faster than that right there. That's about I actually clocked it one time. The fastest that I could do is about 115 BPM. Anything other than that, it ain't happening for me. So that's me. And I would really do it my goal, of course, when I was young, was to be fast. I wanted to be fast, I listened to Stanley Clark. I could play that stuff on that Return to Forever record. But now I hear stuff that I used to play, my brain doesn't even work like that. And you just get to that point, it's not necessary, But at the same time, it's good to challenge yourself, and to do that stuff. And that's what helped. What helped me more than anything was that I didn't stick to any one thing. Regardless of the kind of music that you like, you have to be open, because you can take something from another genre that you don't particularly care for, but you could apply a specific thing to whatever it is you're doing. And that's what keeps it interesting. I'm sure everybody in here can attest to being to that point where like, you get sick of hearing yourself. You know, it's like I'm playing the same thing over and over again. But the only way that will change, you have to expose yourself to different things, you know. And I'll never forget, all the guys I used to play with James Cleveland, when I started doing all these other things, they were like, man, get me on some of them gigs. I was like, dude, you sound like James Cleveland. Like, but very early on, I knew, and I don't know what it was. First of all, I remember thinking, I don't want to sound like anybody else. I never wanted to sound like, and then I get guys go, man, I heard this cat, man, he sounds just like you. And I'm like, that's not a compliment. It's like, why? Like everybody, you have to be yourself. You have to be yourself, whatever that is, you know. But I just knew that I could not play James Cleveland music for the rest of my life. Because it's like, I mean, I love that music, but that could never be the only thing that I played. So I started doing it. And there was one gig that I literally went to them and told them. I went to Walter Hawkins and I said, man, I have to play with y'all. Because they had, I don't know what it is up in Oakland, California, but you know, that's where Sly came from and all these other people came from. There's just another kind of groove that's in the Bay Area. And when I heard it, I told them, I said, I gotta play with y'all. And luckily it just worked out to where that I had the opportunity to play with them. But in answer to your question, that's my slapper side. And I tell people too, because I see a lot of people who got it's more defined. Like I always do it right here at the base of my neck. It's just a different sound when you do it that way. Like, how many people golf? How many golfers we got? None? Wow. But you know, in golf, they tell you that you let the clubs do the work. Like your swing is basically the same, but you let the clubs do the work. And so, why do you have to do all this, man? Just turn your volume up, you know? And I remember what changed me was I looked down one day and there was blood all over my face. Because I split my thumb from, like, I used to do that because I saw Louis Johnson and that's the way he did it, you know. So, like, I just hurt myself right there. Like, I don't do that no more, you know. So, it's about dynamics too. Like. I can move up. And if you really notice, I'm not looking at my neck all the time. But I did crazy stuff. I used to practice with the lights off. Like I practiced literally, I don't know why I did it, but that's what I did, you know. And I tell bass players too, people that come to get lessons, because they always want to learn, the tricks. But they want to learn the how. You gotta have the why, you know, to learn the how. It's like I can show you a lick, but you'll never know how to get there. You won't be able to apply it because you're like, first of all, you don't know all the notes on your bass. Like I used to practice these things that I did. I practiced songs in the same key but in different positions on my bass. So I can go E flat, E flat, E flat, E flat, E flat, E flat, E flat. I know they all are, you know, without thinking about it. A lot of times, guys learn songs and they'll stay right in a certain place, but you'll never grow like that. Songs, whatever kind of music it is, practice playing it in different. Like if your G is right here, that's my G, then I'm gonna go here, play it here, and play it here. Like I'll play whatever the song is. Not thinking, because when you're not thinking about where you are, then your mind is freer to think about what you're doing, you know. And a lot of cats don't do that, man. They want to learn. And see, the YouTube is a blessing and a curse because people see all that stuff and they want to learn all that stuff they see. But people don't get to, I started, you know, if you guys familiar with Periscope?
Right.
I started Periscoping like I'm doing a lot of recording sessions. And I just thought it would be cool to Periscope some of my sessions so people could actually see what the process is. You know, you hear the record once it's done. Anybody that does, I think I heard you say something about like you do recording stuff. I heard you guys talking out there. But I'm just saying, you know, people don't get a chance to see that process. They see the finished product. But they don't really have an appreciation for what it took to get it to that point, you know. And so, for me, it's fun. I love sharing, and it's just been cool for me to like, I just put my camera where people can see what I'm doing, and like I do a session, and they're all commenting like, man, it's amazing. You're so meticulous. But it's like, you're supposed to be, you know, because you want the finished product to be something that you can be proud of. Anyway, I've talked too much.
That's all you're here for.
18, I went to Japan. Playing what they call back then, they call them top 40 bands. And this was in the disco era. So it was a disco band, and I'll never forget, I went to Japan. I went for 6 months. For 6 months straight, we did 6 one-hour-long sets a night. We started at 6 in the evening and then finished at 4 in the morning. We were making $180 a week. But in 1977, for somebody that came from where I came from, you know, I'm like, $180, I'm on my way, man, you know. But then back then too, the dollar was 470 yen, not like 75 yen or whatever it is. Now the dollar was so strong that $180 didn't seem bad back then. So.
You got good too.
You
got a lot of practice in that 6 months.
Man, I'll tell you what I did do. I went over there, I weighed 215. When I came home, I weighed 175. We only in 6 months. Those Japanese, they're slave drivers. We literally only had two off days.
You get good real fast.
Yeah. But it's like all those things, man, I thank God for all of those experiences because it made me have a great appreciation. I remember the first time I found out what per diem was. I was going to Europe with Andre Crouch, and the road manager came up and handed me an envelope that had $800 in it. And I thought it was my pay for the whole tour. I said, so you pay me in advance? He said, no, that's your per diem. And I was like, what's that? I didn't know. He said, well, that's your money to eat with every day, you know. So everything is a learning experience, man. But the money became an issue as my responsibilities grew, when I started having bills and all that kind of stuff. Once again, it's crazy because I have a relationship with Roland, and they called me to the Roland headquarters in LA. They wanted me to demonstrate it. Incredible. I have Avalon 737 compression, which is the standard, like in studios everywhere. But this, I'll show you. This Boss compressor, I put this thing up against my Avalon. It's like the technology that they use now is this one right here, the BC1X. There's some new kind of technology now that Roland and Boss is doing, even amplifiers, that they model like twin reverbs or whatever. They got an amp, it's a blues amp they have that's insane. But they wanted me to demonstrate the compression pedal. And then when I saw the vocoder pedal, I said, wait, what's up with that pedal right there, man? And they said, well, check it out. And I started messing with it. And so then I wound up, and it was the president of Roland was coming from, you know, Roland's Japanese. So the president was coming from Japan. So I wound up demonstrating the vocoder pedal for the guy too. And then they asked me Is it on the Guitar Center website or whatever it's on?
It's
on the
on
website.
Rolling Boss YouTube.
What is
I
it?
think it's Rolling Boss YouTube.
Yeah,
Rolling
it's on-
USA or
it's
Boss
on
USA.
YouTube. You see me demonstrate this pedal. Did I do? No, they got Yannick to do the compression pedal. But they got, no, I did the
I think
anyway,
you did
long
the
story
vocal
short,
and Yannick
I saw
did
this
the
pedal right
compression.
here, and I started messing with it, and I was like, they're like, okay, we want you to demo this pedal. So it's actually, I actually have the original Roland vocoder. I don't know if you ever seen that thing. It's got all the levers on it. Came out, I bought it in like 84, 85. But this thing is crazy.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4.
And it's actually cool because, you know, when you've been playing a long time, and when you're still trying to grow and do different things, this is just another aspect of doing something different, you know, to expand your horizons a little bit.
What makes it really cool is that you don't have to sing. You can just talk.
Like, I'm just talking, I'm not singing.
Whenever I play, it will time.
So I did this. And it's actually a video. It's on my Facebook page.
Jack 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you hear me now?
The song I did, and we're talking to our seminar, but I just played bass line inside the
For the Lord is good, and His mercy is everlasting. Wonderful, marvelous. I said the Lord is good, and His mercy is everlasting. Wonderful, marvelous. I said the Lord is good, and His mercy is everlasting. Wonderful. Wonderful, marvelous. I said you don't know, but I know what the Lord has done. What He's done for me. And His mercy is everlasting. Oh, it's wonderful, marvelous. I said the Lord is good.
That's crazy because the tracks alone was.
I said the Lord is good, and His mercy is everlasting.
Like whatever you play, those are notes you hear, but you don't have to sing it all. You know, I do sing, but what else did I do? I did some other stuff too.
But you gotta be able to play too.
Well, yeah, that I don't know the words.
Just because I don't know the words to this song, but I'm a great player, but I wanna be the lead singer. I want to stand out front, don't wanna be in the back no more. Get out of my way, let me think slowly, baby.
Babe, just say babe.
you gotta do is baby, baby, baby. You can sing it all day, and it's still funky. Baby, baby, baby.
You can't lose by just saying baby, baby, baby. Anyway, so that's the full chord pedal. It's crazy, man. And it actually works with whatever you plug into it. You can do it with a keyboard, guitar, whatever. But it works, you see it works really cool with the bass too. And I thought they were gonna be for sale in March. They're still not available yet.
No, not yet, not yet. I think Sweetwater, Guitar Center, American Musical Supply, they are working on getting something.
Yeah,
But I think Sweetwater might beat them.
yeah, it's crazy though, man. So,
What gauge strings do you use?
light gauge, these are Dean Markley SR 2000 light.
Like being a 45 for the Jeep?
What?
45.
No, and how I came up with his name, I don't know. I just, when I heard it, I was like, it's funny, if you keep saying it to yourself, like it becomes whatever you call it. And so the song is called.